So welcome, friends, to our regular Thinking Thursday. And today we have a wonderful speaker, Leni Mathew. Leni is a Master Certified Coach, MCC from ICA Australia, and since 2014 has pioneered conducting ICF US accredited coach certification training program globally. She has completed 2,700 hours of executive coaching for the corporate world and approximately 200 hours for professors in academia and for community leaders. Her engagement with social initiatives of change and community work lends itself to a depth of understanding people and empowering transformation in organizations. She has a width of global executive certifications from Harvard Business School, IIM Bangalore, Ken Blanchard International, etc. She's a leadership competence assessor, certified in MBTI, integrative enneagram, and other tools. 32 plus years of work experience. She launched Empower, a leadership development firm, in 1997 for clients like IBM, HP, W.S. Atkins, KPMG, Moon Controls, Airbus, Deutsche Bank, Tesco, etc. She's like a leader, a mentor, a coach, and she's also a wonderful friend. Leni has won 2 leadership coaching awards in 2015 and 2020 from the World HRD Congress. She started her career with Taj and Oberoi Group of Hotels, Jayaprakash Industries, and the Yugoslav Trading Commission in management and marketing, but has come a long way from serving others to saving others. Leni's coaching is a leadership approach for conscious conversations. She has this amazing program that she runs, and if you want any more information on the professional coach training that she mentors, you have her details here. Her registrations are generally by, all these, I think we picked up this slide from somewhere, but obviously this is an ongoing program which happens every year. I think Leni can give us more information. I think it's about a 6 or a 9 month program.
That's
right?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. And that's her contact number, her email, and of course, her website. So Leni, welcome. And as always, I'm always excited to listen to you. And today, I think our group is fortunate because we're going to listen to the words of Jesus from you. And Leni, whenever we meet in Bangalore, she has so much to talk about, and the kind of community service that she does with her church is really exemplary. And I love the profoundness with which she has understood the text of Bible. I don't think it's a text, I think it's a holy book, but the text in the holy book is something that I think we need to understand, not only understand, I think, Leni, it's more about how we use it in our daily life. And Leni is somebody who really works on that area. So Leni, welcome again, and let us listen to you.
Thank you so much, Tripti. I have just to say thank you for giving me this opportunity to share some of the things that I'm passionate about and hold dear in my heart. So thank you for that, and thank you for all of you being here. Since we're in the season of Christmas, right, and that's really the birth of Christ and the birth of the New Testament, so to speak. So if I had to ask you, what comes to mind for all of you when you think of Christmas, what would that be?
Santa Claus, Christmas tree. बस इतना ही.
Okay. Yes.
I think the wonderful songs we used to sing in school, jingle bells and stuff like that, and also I think joy, just joy. That's what really Christmas is to me, or me rather.
Right. So yes, it is a joyous occasion, but anything else that comes to mind? I mean, you know a little bit about, I'm sure, the Bible, and some of us may have even studied in convent schools and things like that. So you have some idea. So when you think of Christmas, besides Santa Claus and joy and gifts and celebration, what else comes to mind? Anything at all?
I like that.
Sorry, I didn't get you.
Nativity play.
Sorry, making. I'm sorry.
Nativity.
The nativity
The
play. Yes,
nativity plays. Yeah,
yes, yes. Right. Yes, I
that's something
mean,
that,
yes, the actual um, birth of Christ, what happens, and the whole aspect of what it means and how it gets played out, right? Right. So I just want to share a little bit about what the Christmas message really is and why do we celebrate and what is it really? When you say the birth of Christ, what is it actually about? And how do we see it? Even if you look at the nativity play, right? The nativity, the whole aspect of Christ's birth. Some of the things that stand out. So some of the things that stand out, for example, are uh, you. There's a star that appears in the sky, right? So it's a cosmic event. There's a star that appears in the sky, and there are three kings that follow the star from all parts of the world and come to where Christ is born, and then so you look at one aspect of cosmic news, that's kind of significance. Then you look at kings, but here these are kings having various kingdoms, but the kingdom of Christ is very different from the kingdoms of this political world, right? Here is the announcement of a king of the spiritual kingdom, the spiritual kingdom within, right? Becoming a king within, being a king of your own life. And he brings up this concept as being a king is born, but a king is born not in terms of political position, but in terms of as a spiritual message about being our own king, right? And we look at also the whole aspect of compassion and mercy. So you see that Christ gets born in a humble stable, right? In a cowshed, actually, in layman's language, a cowshed, right? Because he doesn't have place there's no place in the inn or whatever. He actually, but that is intentful. Why? Because he's saying that to be the king of your inner being, you don't need to be a political figure or have great status, or you can be just a lowly shepherd, right? Someone who's just a common person, a very common man, who lives from day to day, lives among the sheep and the cattle, and he's born in that space of humility, right? It immediately talks about, you know where are we living in, right? He introduces the aspect of humility versus the ego, right? He brings in also simple things like see the three kings bringing in myrrh, frankincense, and gold. Myrrh is about healing. It's something that is used for healing. So I'm here to heal the inner spiritual darkness, heal the wounds and the pain that humanity is living with. And then it talks about frankincense. Frankincense actually is like a balm that embodies the whole body. It's something that's used for embalming even, right? So it's about preservation of life. It's about preservation of life. And gold, of course, gold is about wealth. In this material world, you do need wealth to make things happen on a day to day basis and survive, right? So he's bringing in all of these aspects in just one snapshot of that nativity, right? The message is, when we think about king, what do we think of? Are we looking at a position, a status, our ego? Or are we thinking of king of our heart, king of our spiritual inner being? Are we thinking of humility and humbleness and modesty? Are we thinking of love and compassion to people, right? Whether it's through healing, whether it's through preserving life, whether it's to take care of them, in this material world as well. How is that happening? Right? So, this is the message of Christmas where it's saying that these are important things to consider, right? And where are we on this path? And so when you look at what the Bible says, and there's a small passage that I just like to read from Corinthians, the Gospel of Corinthians, chapter 1, verse 3 to 9. It says, Brethren, grace to you and peace from God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ. I give thanks to my God always for you because of the grace of God that was given you in Christ Jesus, that in every way you were enriched in him in all speech and all knowledge, even as the testimony about Christ was confirmed among you. So the birth of Christ is also bringing wisdom and the ability to understand at a very human level, not at, sometimes, when we look at the aspect of God or the divine, we think, oh, that's, somebody sitting there in heaven, right? Somebody dur hai, or, I can't reach that person. And, he's supernatural and he's, I cannot connect with him, right? But so the birth of Christ is also about saying, I am with you. I am with you and I've taken human form to be with you. Right? It is about connecting with the Spirit of Christ, the Spirit of the divine in our lives, knowing that there is a presence here. There is no separation. In our minds, often we think that God is separate from us. But actually, we are all one. There is a unity, there is a oneness, and history tends to deny the divine in all of us, tends to think of separation. I mean, the whole aspect of war and I and you and conflict and all of these things come from a sense of separation, because the moment you say I and you, there is separation already, right? So these are the things that the Christmas message is trying to get us to see. Are we working with what the Christmas message is actually saying? Are we considering it, and where are we on that path? Where are we on that path? I'll just share a few slides to share a little bit more. Yeah. So the good news that Christmas brings is a couple of things that I just dwell on for a few moments. One is salvation over sin and the personality in this world. So when we see salvation over sin, I think the easy way to understand it is when you talk about the karmic journey, right? We all come with our karmic journeys, right? That's the part that in the Bible, it's called sin. But the greatest of sin is when you hurt the spirit, including yourself, because you and the other there is no difference. When you hurt somebody else, you're actually hurting yourself, right? So am I aware of that? That's the nature of the divine, the nature of Christ is about love. And I think in one of our earlier sessions, when I was talking about Christ consciousness, I talked a fair amount about that, right? So the question is, are you living your life from a space of love, from the nature of love, or are you, living your life with, wanting more, a consumerist kind of a society where we're looking at material things, coming from a sense of scarcity and fear, right? And therefore actually hurting each other. When you feel that you don't have enough, then what happens is that you get into either sense of fear and therefore conflict arises, or a sense of aggression and therefore conflict arises, right? And so we don't work with the karmic journeys that come to our table, right? So salvation is about Christ bringing a path about how can we work with the nature of love and move forward and learn our karmic lessons from the space of love and compassion, right? So what do we mean by that? It doesn't have to be something very big. It could be everything you do on a daily basis, in all the roles we play, whether we are a parent, a spouse, a child, whether we are a neighbor, whether we are a part of a community, uh, in our work, do we work because it's a job and it gives us money, or do we work because we're adding value to somebody's life? We care about somebody, and our work is actually adding value to somebody's life. Are we having that perspective, right? So, are we working with a higher self, or are we working with our personality, right? The stula, the linga, the kamamanas, and the prana are all to do with the personality, right? Whereas when you look at the manas, the buddhi, and the atma, you're looking at the higher divine state of being. So, are we working with that? Are we working with uh, what in the Christian faith is called the upper room? The upper room is the higher self, the higher state of consciousness. So, are we working with that, or are we not? Right? So that's the question to see, because if we get drowned by the personality in this world, then we manifest what this world has manifested. And we look around and we see there's war and, all sorts of calamities, natural calamities, because we kind of exploited the earth and created the scenario. So how can we work with salvation and get over sin and our work with our karmic journey? So that's also the Bible, that's what the Bible says about salvation. And that's a big message, because Christ's birth is about showing us the way. In the early Christian era, uh, Christ's path was actually called the way. It was called the way, right? The word Christianity only came after he passed away, after he moved on. Otherwise, the word Christian didn't even exist before. But he called it the way primarily. The other aspect is of separation and the denial of the divine within. So when we don't take care of ourselves, and I mean take care of ourselves not in singular, but in plural as a humanity, then we are denying our divine nature, and we create separation. And therefore, we are not present. We are either thinking of what happened in the past and looking at past history, or we're looking at fearfully the future, right? We don't live in the presence. And when we live in the present, then we are able to open to our highest gifts of creativity, of compassion, of love, and our nature, our divine nature comes out. So how can we make that happen? So the focus of being present. Why? I mean, even a simple thing like asking yourself, why am I doing what I'm doing right now? Right? And observing, be a witness to yourself about what did you do today? What upset you, and is there something that you did that upset others? Did you come from a space of fear? Did you get angry because you were scared? Did you do something because you operated from a space of fear? Right? So these are the things that the way of the Bible, it takes out each of these things, and actually it has a story to tell about how to deal with this, how to work with this. Even the aspect of faith, right? I don't know how many of you are familiar or read anything about quantum physics, right? I mean, forever when we talk about spirituality and mysticism and all of these things, um, the agnostic community and those that are only wanting science and factual evidence always had to have a problem. But now quantum physics is actually giving evidence of spirituality and what it means. So how can we work with that, even if we have to work with science, right? And science, one of the things that it says, thought is so powerful, and faith is about that, right? When we have faith, two things happen. Our thoughts are at a high level of vibration and consciousness, and it is coinciding with our heart, our mind and our heart, right? There is a harmony, and that is extremely powerful. So the power of prayer and the power of faith is the other thing that the Bible actually talks a great deal about. And science actually says that when you focus on something, uh, dil se agar mango to milta hai, but it really has to have that vibration. It has to have that vibration, then it gets manifest, right? So even in the Bible, all the miracles that Christ does, he always says, he always follows it up, and they say thank you, or they're grateful, whether he's healed the blind or the sick or the lame. He always says, your faith has healed you. Your faith has healed you. Always says that, right? So there is a power in faith that we may not understand 100% because we tend to think so much from an analytical mind. But there is a whole wisdom of mysticism and mystery that we may not be able to comprehend. Our mind may not, a human mind may not be able to comprehend. But if we experiment with faith genuinely and authentically, the power of prayer, the power of faith, it's amazing. I mean, there are millions of stories, not only in the Bible, but I'm sure testimonies that people can have. I'm sure from this group as well, miracle stories that could have happened that you've experienced, right? I'm sure of it, right? That gives you, so it's a restatement and emphasis of the need for faith, right? In today's world, we don't have, so there's so much that's not in our control, right? But if we think together in one unity and we pray together with one intent, miracles can happen. And I've seen that happening. And I've seen that happening in my personal life and otherwise as well with people I know. So it's something to really work with, and knowing that there is abundance, that we are made abundant, our abundance in terms of our inner being, as well as, in the Bible it says that the sparrow, does not work, but it still lives for so long. How does it find food, right? It doesn't have to work to find food, right? So for sparrow, God can take care of a sparrow, the Bible says. How much more valuable are you, right? The lily in the pond is so beautiful, but it's just a lily, it's a flower in the pond. How much more precious and beautiful would God make you, right? Uh, but you still think that, oh, the lily may be looking more beautiful than you, but actually you are so beautiful. But some beauty is not to be, it may not be physically visible, but spiritually visible, right? But are we able to recognize that in ourselves and others? Are we able to celebrate that? Are we be able to energize ourselves with that, right? So these are some things that there are a lot of stories in the Bible that keep talking about these things, but it's really about the path of working with the challenges of our life in an everyday manner. The small things, but when you look at it, it really makes or breaks the quality of our life. And how can we make it happen for us? How can we be our own guide, right? The Bible, for me, forgiveness, there was one time when I always used to think, why is forgiveness such a big thing in the Bible? And why is it not such a big deal in other scriptures, but in the Bible? And it's really about when you forgive somebody, Let's say when you don't forgive somebody, somebody's done something wrong or whatever, and you're upset about it, the moment you're upset, it becomes I and you. You said this to me, you did this to me, right? It becomes I and you. And the moment you do that, you create separation. The moment you do that, you create separation. And the moment you create separation, then the nature of love gets compromised. And that is so painful. It is actually spiritually, it is more painful not to forgive someone than to love someone, no matter what that person has done to you. It is more painful, and it is more, what shall I say? It can fester into a problem, including a physical ailment, if you don't forgive and let go, right? It's like attracting toxins and building on that. So this is why, and a lot of, I mean, I'm sure Tripti, being a doctor, will also have shared many stories. But when we don't take care of our emotional well-being and our spiritual well-being, we are asking for trouble that will manifest in all the possible illnesses in the world, right? From cancer to heart attacks to don't ask me what. So what are we doing? Are we understanding this, and are we making an effort to work with some of these things? And the guiding light is primarily is also about helping us remember that we already have the presence of the divine within us, but we've forgotten that. Somewhere we have forgotten that. So it is about being conscious that there is a light which is sitting within. How can I work with that? You know, I'm sure all of you have heard and know and probably practice meditation and, you know, all of that prayer and all of that. And meditation really increases your vibration. But at the end of the day, it's also about being absolutely still and open in all your chakras, so that you invite uh, the divine presence in. You prepare ground, you prepare the way so that you open your heart to the divine presence. Christ always talks about that. In fact, before Christ comes, you know, he's born, and then for many years we don't hear about him, and then he comes in his 30s when he's 30. And just before that, there is a person called John the Baptist, who's actually a cousin of Christ, and he's also a very holy person. And before Christ comes into his own in his 30th year of life, John the Baptist preaches, make way for the divine, make way, make your path straight, because the divine presence is going to arrive. Make way, you know, clean up your path, clean up your inner being, clean it up, right? Then only the light can shine forth. Then only that stillness will invite, and you will give space to the higher consciousness that lives within, which is really being one with the divine. Yeah? So these are some of the things that the Bible talks about, right from you know, the birth of Christ and what that nativity really is all about. And in that one visual, you see so much that deals with you know, what the message of Christ is, what the kingdoms and what his kingdoms are about humility and ego when you're talking about a divine king, you know, being equal with the sheep around and the shepherds. But there is the guiding light, which is the cosmic star that, you know, you can see in the background there. So these are some things that, you know, you may want to look at and consider. I'll just end with, you know, I don't know if you've heard of this Christmas carol, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. How many of you heard of it or sang it? Okay, some perhaps know it and have sung it at least during Christmas time at some point, I'm sure.
Yes, of course. We can all
Right.
sing it together.
Yeah. So, each Christmas carol has also a message. So, if you look at Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, there's a part. So, we can sing this Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. So, you get to a part where they're making fun of him. So, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer had a very shiny nose. And if you ever
Never
saw
saw
it,
it.
youngsters used to laugh and call him names. They never let poor Rudolph join in any reindeer games, right? Then one foggy Christmas Eve, Santa came to say, Rudolph, with your nose so bright, won't you guide my sleigh tonight? Right? Then how the reindeer loved him as they shouted out with glee, Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, you'll go down in history, right? So even the Christmas carols, to just see what are some of the messages, and for children, for example, right? They always say, if you're bad, Santa's not going to come and give you anything. You better be good, right? Don't make fun of someone just because his nose is shiny or he's different. It's not a good thing to do. And calling poor Rudolph names and keeping him away from, reindeer games, right? That is hurting the spirit actually. You're hurting that poor Rudolph, right? So it's a message in a carol with Rudolph the reindeer, but it's a message to children actually that ऐसा मत करो बेटा, ये अच्छी बात नहीं है. और देखो, Santa has chosen him to ride his sleigh.
Mhm.
So don't go with what you're seeing in front of you. समझो ये बात, take care, uh, be compassionate, be kind-hearted, right? So that's the message even in a simple carol, for children. I mean, these are things that, we have fun and kids love singing all these things. So that's the real message that Christmas brings. And also, it's really to remember that we're spiritual beings having a human experience, not human beings having a spiritual one, right? And and they say, in this material world, there is a quotation that goes, if you have 100 rupees in your pocket, with 50 rupees, buy bread for food to live. But with the other 50 rupees, buy a flower to give you the reason to live. Right? So don't get caught up in this material world of survival. That is not the reason to live. Right? Being in spirit, whatever brings that spirit out, your high level of consciousness about it, your true joy, bring that out. Work for that. Work with that as your guiding light. Right? So that's the message really that the Bible brings forth uh, that I'd like to share. Yeah, that's it. Anything that you would like to ask, I'd be happy to answer.
That was so beautifully. I think it was not spoken, it was sung. While I was listening to you, I felt as if you were singing from the depth of your heart. The words just flowed out. It was so lovely.
Thank you,
Some of
Tripti.
the things that you said, I just loved. I was just writing some of those things that you said. And what I liked the best is you said, may make way for the divine. I think that is such a profound statement because you're right. Most people, most of us get so engrossed with the mundane that we forget that we have to make way for the divine to come in our thoughts, in our deeds, in our feelings. And I think that is such a beautiful statement, make way for the divine. I think that's like an affirmation that you need to tell yourself regularly, that whenever you get caught with things that are upsetting you, just say it, make way for the divine. And I think the divine then helps you. I think I loved that sentence was really beautiful for me. Like a number of other things that you said are so lovely. Uh, the moment you create separation, it's difficult to forgive. Right? That's what you said. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
The moment you create separation from anything in this world, from anybody in this world, then it becomes difficult to forgive. But if you just say that, yeah, maybe I mean, that person is angry with me, but I'm equally an angry person, and there's no difference between her anger and my anger, then I think it becomes easy to forgive. So I think some of the things that you said, you just said it, but they was really, really so deep. They really touched my heart. So many lovely things you said. Um, have when we have faith, our thoughts are at the highest level of consciousness. I think that is so beautiful also. That faith automatically takes you to opening that way.
That's right.
So I think it was lovely, really nice, Leni.
Thank you.
And whenever I meet you, I can feel the heart of Christ inside you. And that's really how I always see you. So yeah, any questions anybody has? This is what I was listening and I said, I have to write what she's saying. And each of those statements were really lovely, Leni. Thank you so much.
You're
Anyone else wants to say anything or ask anything? Please go ahead.
And what I have noted is when she said ki whenever you are working or something, so are you just counting on what money you are getting or how much value you are adding? That was so wonderful. This is so, so important, and we really forget in this material world. But this is very important,
Yes.
really. How much value we are adding to someone's life or just earning.
Yeah.
और ये भी सेम चीज जो आपने लास्ट में बोली वो इफ यू हैव 100 रुपीज, ये बहुत अच्छा लगा मुझे
हाँ,
कि
बहुत ही beautiful.
150 रुपीज से तो आपको जो ब्रेड बटर जो लेना है ले लो, लेकिन 50 रुपीज से जो आपको फ्लावर और ये खरीदना है उससे अपनी स्पिरिट को जिंदा रखो. एक्चुअली हम अपनी स्पिरिट को तो यूं मार ही देते हैं.
हाँ,
वो
बिल्कुल.
बेचारे.
वो
हाँ
चुप हो जाओ और कोने में बैठ जाओ, है ना?
हाँ
अच्छा,
बिल्कुल.
वही बोलते हैं हम, करते हैं हम. Yeah.
That was a lovely example. Yes. Anyone else wants to ask anything to Leni? Remember, she's a life coach. Huh? She's a fantastic life coach. So you need some life coach advice. This is the time to ask her things. Anyone?
Ma'am, I want to ask you that how to have that soft corner for someone to forgive somebody. Like whenever somebody does any like bad thing to you, so how to just forgive them.
So the thing to keep in mind, sorry, I didn't get your name, Bipasha, right?
Yes,
Suruchi. Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. Can it be Pasha?
Yeah, Bipasha. So Bipasha, the thing to keep in mind is that you really don't know what is happening to the person who's hurting you. We all come with karmic baggage, number one, right? We all come with different perceptions, different situations in our life which we may not know. Very often, uh, people don't, when they misbehave or they upset you, they hurt you, sometimes they don't even know they're hurting you. It's not because of you they're saying or doing something, it's because of themselves very often, right? They're going through something, right? So for example, I'll tell you a small story. So there was this man with he had about 4 children, and he got into this bus, and the children were playing havoc in the bus, and there was a passenger seated in one of the seats in the bus, and he was getting more and more angry, looking at the behavior of the children. And finally, he couldn't resist it. He got really upset. He got up and went to the father and was about to start to scream at him when the father looked up and said, "Yes, I know you must be really upset with my children, right? What to do? Their mother just died this morning." Right? तो लोगों के जिंदगी में you don't know what is actually happening. Where is the hurt or the pain or the whatever behavior or whatever they do? One doesn't really know where it is coming from, right? Sometimes we are born and brought up in challenging environments in our childhood, and because of that we only have learned some certain things and we only know that, so we work like that, not realizing that maybe it's upsetting somebody or maybe that's not the right way or whatever, you know. So and all of us, we are all on a karmic journey of learning, you know. So when somebody is upsetting us with something, we are probably also upsetting other people with something which we may not even know, right? So, but the thing to remember is that we are all on this learning journey and we are all actually one. We're all actually one, right? And, if you, in any of the relationships, and the ones that really matter, of course, hopefully more and more people and humanity matter to us, but even the ones that really matter in a close circle, right? Of course, there are going to be fights because you look at things differently, they look at things differently. So, वो तो होना ही है, वो तो होना ही है, right? लेकिन if we get upset and don't forgive them, you know what will happen? You will not forgive yourself in the long run. Because the weight of not forgiving is so heavy on our heart and our soul that we bring that on ourselves. वो खुद को हमको eats us up. But if you forgive, one is you will feel lighter, and the second is when the other person recognizes that you have forgiven him, can you imagine what will happen in the relationship? कैसे वो महसूस करेगा? He would have experienced your divinity there. How beautiful is that? How beautiful is that? Right? So to look like that and remember, it's usually people are not hurting you because of you, it's because of them. Kuch ho raha hai wahan, you know. So have a little bit of, bring forth that divine compassion that we all have. Uske saath dekho kya kar sakte hain, think about it and see. And also how many times we make so many mistakes. We might have also hurt people and people have forgiven us. We've also forgiven ourselves. So we can also be big-hearted, to forgive others as well. Right? So, I mean, that's how I work with things, and I've realized not too long ago, I had a big fight with somebody. I mean, I didn't have a fight, the other person had a fight with me. But I was very hurt. But then I said, ठीक है, she's going through stress, अभी छोड़ दो, poor thing, she's having a bad time. Actually, she's having a bad time. Let's see how to make her life better, make her feel better. So then your whole attitude changes. Then what you're doing in your behavior is bilkul alag se hai, right? Shrija, you were going to say something?
She wants to ask something.
Yeah, I just want to first thank you for this amazing discourse. I think this was really needed, Lenny, and I know you through ma'am since long time. I mean, Ram sir and you, and your work has really grown to a lot of places. So I just wanted to ask you something. Like, there comes a time in life when suddenly something happens and you stop trusting people. Like, it seems that the whole world is too fake, and what you were holding so dear, it's not really true. And farzi dunya, that kind of thing. So it seems like, the whole world is just not what it seems like. It is something else. What do you do when this kind of thing comes right in front of you, for everyone? How do you deal with that?
So I heard you say in the beginning, Shija, that trusting someone becomes a challenge, right? Now, usually that happens when, see, you have to also take care of yourself, Hannah. If you're a person, especially if you're a people person, especially if you're an empathetic person, right? You tend to want to do things for others. You tend to you're a giver, and you're big-hearted. And to kya hota hai that if you tend to do that more, but not take care of yourself, right? Then there can be a problem. So the question is that how are you taking care of your heart and your own spirit, right? There are some things that just commonsensically ask yourself, why am I, for example, there's in my training program, this question always comes, how can I say no without offending the other person? It's a very common one, right? How can I say no without offending the Arey? Then where are you taking care of yourself? And the funny thing is, if you ask them, okay, so when is it that you want to say no? Then I can't do it. It's a problem. It's really not possible. So, I mean, why do you want to think anything different? It's the right reason, right? You can't do it. तभी तो बोल रहा है no, है ना? लेकिन नहीं, I want to do it. Even if I can't do it, I want to do it, and I can't say no. Right? So this is just a small example of what we always do. And especially if you are a big-hearted person and you care about other people, the tendency of not taking care of self is very high. So that's the first thing that you have to work through and see, why am I doing this? What am I doing that is making me not want to trust people, or making me feel hurt or pained, or I'm not feeling good with people, right? Ask that question and see what comes up, because I think it'll help.
That's really amazing. Yes, thank you. I think what I've read in what you said is like, somewhere there has to be an emotional benchmarking, and that doesn't happen because we have too much expectations from ourselves,
right?
And then we burden, others also, and then we don't understand the entire scenario goes haywire.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Amazing. Thanks, Leni. No wonder. I mean, I'm speaking to a life coach. Thank you.
You're
Thanks.
most welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Shrija. Anyone else wants to ask anything to Leni? Okay. I think there's been a lot of food for thought from today's talk. I think we need to go through it again, especially some of the wonderful things that you've said today. So
well, you have my contact details. If you want, to connect in any way, I'd be more than happy to connect with any of you.
yes, absolutely. So how should we end it, Leni? Should we sing?
Yes.
Yes.
Let's sing How many of you know Rudolph's Red-Nosed
Yeah, we know.
Okay, I'm putting up the slide.
Yeah, put up
so
the
that
slide.
we can do a small karaoke of the Christmas carol.
Neeta, you want to ask a question or you want to sing along?
I'll sing along, ma'am.
Oh, good, great. Come on, let's all sing
great.
together. Come on. 1, 2, 3.
Rudolph
the
Red-nosed reindeer
had
had a very shiny nose,
and if
and
you
if you
ever
ever
saw
saw
it,
it,
you
you would even say it close.
All
All of the other reindeer
used
to
to
laugh
laugh
call
and call
him
him
names.
names.
They
They never
let
let poor Rudolph join in any reindeer games. Then one foggy Christmas Eve,
Santa
Santa came to say, Rudolph, with your nose so bright,
won't
won't you guide me sleighs tonight?
Then
And how the reindeer loved him
oh,
as he shouted out with glee, Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer,
You'll go
go
down
down
in history.
history.
So
Thank
how many
you,
of you are
Leni.
going to go down in history? I want to know. Chippy claps.
Definitely
Thank
not like a tombstone. Hopefully,
I know.
we won't go down in history like a tombstone. Maybe we'll add some value, like Shakuntala said, to life and other people's lives. So thank you, Leni. It was wonderful.
Tha-
And
Thank
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 you,
you,
Leni.
everybody.
It was wonderful.
Thanks.
And we would all like to live in each other's heart
Yeah,
forever.
Thank you.
and to take care of your heart as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Thank you so much.
Thank
This
you.
is
Lovely.
lovely.
Thank you, everybody, and a Merry Christmas to
God bless
everybody.
you.
Merry
God bless you
Christmas,
all.
everyone.
And see you all next Thursday. All the tarot readers are going to be there for you. Please join in. All the 12 ones who have said that they are coming in. So we have 12 of them in 12 breakout rooms. The sooner you come in, you'll have a chance to get your tarot reading done, because we'll take 3 people, 2 or 3 people will go into every breakout room. So come in and get your annual chart read. It'll be fun. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.